Unrest continues in Detroit, Michigan. The FBI is now investigating alleged voter fraud in the state. This after a whistleblower said election workers were told to backdate late ballots. Rumors of voter fraud and skewed results have turned up since election night. One Michigan county even flipped from Biden to Trump after skewed results were spotted and corrected. The county's officials still have not revealed what skewed the results to begin with. We spoke with a GOP poll watcher who was observing the count in Detroit on election night to see what he observed that night. NTD's Melina Weiskup has the story.
The TFC Convention Center in Detroit has seen daily protests since Wayne County was called, with Biden winning the county at 68%, leaving Trump behind at just 30%. Since election night, pro-Trump protesters have gathered outside of the TFC Center to contest the results. One GOP poll watcher told us what he observed on election night that was suspicious to him. He explains that the ballots were counted at a slow pace. Watching the processing speed at his table and talking to his friends observing other tables, they calculated that only 7,000 ballots could have actually been counted on election night.
And I got a feeling they were intentionally slowing down the process, so they would leave the bulk of the counting to be done when no GOP representative is available.
He says the GOP watchers were told that they should be done at 5 a.m., but around 4 a.m., another truck came in with more ballots. But the election officials told the watchers they will wait for the next shift to count the newly arrived ballots.
So this truck came in and it unloaded some ballots. One of my friends was watching that. He actually took down the license number and the number of boxes they took down from the truck. And they were told by the people working there, saying there's about 38,000 ballots just came back from the city clerk. God knows when that got in, and they are put in here for count for the next shift.
So he decided to do some digging, finding a list of names circulating on social media claiming to be records of illegal votes cast. After doing the fact check on Michigan's voter database website, some people whose ballots were marked as received were born in the year 1900.
The next person is Carter James Bradley, also born in 1900 in January, a little older.
That's one example out of a list of 12,000. During our fact-check process, we found that it appears some of these records are in the process of being deleted from the Michigan database. For example, when this GOP poll watcher first searched for a woman named June Aiken, born in 1900, she was shown as registered and her ballot was received on October 8th. But the data has since been deleted. When checking for the same person now, it shows no voter registered. Another claim being disputed in Michigan is covered windows during ballot counts. Elections officials defended their decision to cover the windows, telling CNN that some windows were covered because poll workers inside those windows expressed concerns about people outside the center photographing and filming them in their work. NTD contacted the elections officials for clarification, but no response was given. And just today, Michigan's Antrim County uncovered skewed results that, when corrected, took a 30% lead from Biden and flipped the county red. The county initially reported that 62% of voters elected Biden, but updated results show Trump actually won with 56% to Biden's 42%. Antrim County officials have not identified what caused the skewed results to begin with. Reporting by Melina Weiskup, NTD News.
As the Trump campaign files lawsuits and alleges voter fraud, supporters of the president are rallying around the country. In Atlanta, Georgia, on Thursday, voters gathered for a Protect the Vote rally outside the building where ballots were being counted. Our reporters were there.
Protesters gathered outside the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, where the county's ballots were being counted Thursday. They were there because they suspect that voter fraud is taking place during the ballot counting process. They said they want transparency and a free and fair election.
I'm just here to support the legal counting of every legal ballot. I don't want fake ballots to be counted. I voted in Georgia. I don't want my vote diluted by false ballots.
I have been here for over 20 years. I've never voted. This is the first time I've voted. since I've been an American citizen. And I just want to make sure that my vote is counted. My voice is heard as a black woman living in America.
The founder and CEO of NACA, a nonprofit home ownership advocacy organization, was also at the rally, but for a different reason. He said for over a month, NACA has been helping to drive people to the polls to vote, to make sure their voices are heard.
But it's more than that. You want to make sure that the vote is counted. So we're here to make sure that all the votes are counted, and we're here to support the workers who are counting every vote. And what you see here is you see intimidation.
Marks said the other protesters were trying to intimidate the ballot counters and suppress opinions that they don't like. But this protester expressed that she feels it's her voice being suppressed.
We just have to do something to draw attention to the fact that we need free and fair elections. That's all we want, is a free and fair election.
She also said mail-in ballots create a huge opportunity for election fraud and that America needs to go back to Election Day voting. One protester said she was originally from communist Cuba, where they don't have a voice in electing their leaders. And she had a warning for Biden supporters who weren't willing to acknowledge the possibility of election fraud.
I am a Cuban American, and in Cuba, they suppress everybody's votes. So if you think that this is just temporary, you're wrong. It's going to happen to you in the future. So all the Democrats should be in the side of the Trump supporters today, so that this doesn't happen to you and your children one day.
Though there is no hard evidence of election fraud at present, the irregularities and unusual circumstances and behaviors surrounding the vote counting process are enough to make these voters lose trust in the election system, and many can only see it getting resolved in court. Grace Coulter, NTD News, New York.
Pfizer has received informal requests relating to its operations in China. The requests come from the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act units of both the Justice Department and the Securities and Exchange Commission. The drug maker said it's producing records in accordance with the requests. In 2012, Pfizer paid over $26 million as part of a settlement with the U.S. government. The company was involved in illegal payments to win businesses overseas, including in Russia, Bulgaria, China, and Italy. It is illegal for U.S. companies and foreign firms whose stock is traded in the U.S. to bribe government officials in foreign countries.
China's trade war with Australia rises to a new level. It's now blocking $4 billion worth of export goods. Some say it's because of the country's critical stance towards Beijing.
According to Chinese state media, China will place a sweeping trade ban on a growing list of Australian imports, set to take effect this week. Its total worth is some $4 billion. The ban includes Australian commodities such as sugar, timber, copper, among other goods. Chinese officials have denied that the trade blockages are a retaliatory attack against Australia's criticism of Beijing. But just a few months ago, Beijing threatened Australia with import bans. In April, Australia pursued an independent investigation into the origins of the CCP virus in China. Soon after, China's ambassador to Australia said if they do so, Chinese consumers might begin boycotting Australian imports. China's foreign ministry also told Reuters, quote, relevant companies reducing imports of relevant products from Australia are acting on their own initiative. But according to the South China Morning Post, last month Chinese officials gave verbal instructions to Chinese industrial companies to stop importing Australian goods. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation also reported that Chinese importers have received orders from the CCP's Ministry of Commerce to stop importing Australian goods in an off-the-record meeting. Australia's former treasurer Joe Hockey accused China of using its economic power to bully Australia. In an interview with Bloomberg on Tuesday, he warned, quote, bullying never works with Australia.
Now we turn to the Indo-Pacific region and Australia. After a 13-year absence, Australia is rejoining a joint military exercise in the Indo-Pacific region. Participants include the United States, Japan, India, and Australia. It's currently ongoing and will last for around 2 weeks. The Malabar exercises are a demonstration of military power. It comes in response to the Chinese Communist regime's aggression in the region. Australia participated in the exercises only once back in 2007. That's because its involvement was condemned by the CCP. The country's decision to rejoin the exercise may be a sign that it's taking an even tougher stance against Beijing.